Here is the John Bowne report with Richard Reeves that basically began the beginning of the end of the Bush candidacy to a great extent. Donald Trump took it over the top, obviously, and deserves great credit for that. But let's look at this in context of the 28 pages set to come out next week.
Thanks. You doing well? Excellent. It's good to see you.
Governor Bush.
How we doing? Good to
All
see
right,
you,
good.
man.
How you doing? I was wondering, would you be in favor of seeing the 28 pages that have been redacted from the 9/11 Commission report? Would you
sure.
be wanting to see those released?
Yeah, I'd like to see them. You got them?
Well,
Andrea may have them.
Hopefully we can get them. Thank you.
What do you think?
Would you be in favor of seeing the 28 pages that have been redacted from the 9/11 Commission report? Would you
sure.
be wanting to see those released?
Yeah, I'd like to see them. You got them?
Well,
Andrea may have them.
Hopefully we can get them. Thank you.
For the few who have seen them, they're known as the 28 pages.
In those pages are names of people who allegedly helped the al-Qaeda killers, but who have never been held accountable.
Potential sources of foreign support for the September 11th hijackers, classified by the Bush administration.
Why the 28 pages remain hidden from the public remains a mystery.
We know the 28 pages from Senator Graham and Senator Jones that have seen it, and military we've had on that have seen it. It says Saudi Arabia ran the attacks to blame Iraq. That was always the plan. And then our own government, bare minimum, stood down. And, of course, it was more than that. But we have the fact that it now, to a great extent, was an inside job.
I have read the 28 pages, and the 28 pages have nothing to do with national security. Nothing, or I wouldn't be standing here. It's all about relationships and involvement in 9/11.
I want those documents declassified. I'm embarrassed to be associated with a work product that is secret.
I am convinced that there was a direct line between at least some of the terrorists who carried out the September 11th attacks and the government of Saudi Arabia. He called it a smoking gun. And he went on to say the reason for this cover-up goes right up to the White House.
This is sort of shocking when you read it. As I read it, we all had our own experience. I had to stop every couple pages and just sort of absorb and try to rearrange my understanding of history for the past 13 years and the years leading up to that. It challenges you to rethink everything.
What do we know is in the 28 censored pages of the 9/11 report? People that have seen it said it would bring down the whole system.
I've met with and talked to multiple members of Congress who read it. They are convinced the American people need to see it. It has to do with information which is not convenient to the White House, either White House, the Clinton White House or the Bush White House, and it has to do with an ally who essentially looked the other way and allowed a lot of support for the terrorists who conducted the attack.
We're here today to call for the release of those 28 pages. The survivors, civilian heroes, and families of the victims of September 11 terrorist attacks, some of whom are here today, deserve the full truth. We cannot let page after page of blanked out documents be obscured behind a veil, leaving these families to wonder if there is additional information surrounding these horrible acts.
My son, Matthew C. Salito, was murdered September 11th, 2001.
On September 11th, I lost my husband, Tom Strada.
My husband, Victor, was the captain of United Flight 175 that struck the South Tower of the World Trade Center on September 11th at 9:03 a.m.
My father never got to see me compete on my horse, cheer me on at a lacrosse game, or hear me speak at my middle school graduation.
When you tell me there's a security risk and that's the reason you're not making these public, Mr. President, I call you a liar.
He would be laughing and saying, you go get him, Terry. You go get him. Don't let them get away with this. Don't let them hide the truth. And don't let the people that were behind it not pay.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
Governor Bush.
How we doing? Good to see
All
you,
right,
man.
good. How you doing? I was wondering, would you be in favor of seeing the 28 pages that have been redacted from the 9/11 Commission report? Would you
sure.
be wanting to see those released?
Yeah, I'd like to see them. You got them?
When I dream of my wedding day, I will carry his picture and wish he were there with me.
Yeah, I'd like to see them. You got them?
My son's dead, and I don't know all the facts.
Yeah, I'd like to see him. Got him?
Keeping it a secret about those who facilitated it must end now.
Well,
Andrea may have him.
Hopefully we can get him. Thank you.
Now, coming up in the next segment, I'm going right back to your calls for folks that are patiently holding. Leandra, Aaron, Kirby, Debbie, and others. But Les Jameson's, I guess I've probably known him for 14, 15 years, putting on 9/11 events, citizen journalism investigations. He's been working since October 2015 to spearhead an effort to generate grassroots support for legislation releasing 28 pages. HR14.org is the website. We've had, obviously, Congressman Walter Jones, I said senator during the report, on, and a lot of other folks breaking that down. Seabell Edmonds, who actually heard the NSA chatter, the transcripts of what really happened. Criminal elements of our government are working with Saudi Arabia and with jihadis. And look at what's happened with Obama now, funding it all into Syria. And they think that we're ignorant about this, and some people are, and they can get away with it. But now we have the head of the CIA saying he may release some of it or all of it next week. What are you expecting to happen next week from all your sources and following this, Les Jameson? And where do you think this is going to go? I mean, obviously, some people will say, hey, it's a lot more than that. Bombs in the buildings, everything else. Yeah, we get that. But if you prove there's a cover-up and a stand-down on 9/11, that blows the door open for the whole investigation. It's like, you know, finding a guy with one dead kid in the back of his car. Now you get a search warrant to go into the basement where there's 20 dead kids. The point is, we've got a dead kid in the car. We got this guy pulled over, and he's got splaining to do. Right, Les?
Yeah, exactly right, Alex. Thank you so much for having me on today. I think a great illustration of the value of the 28 pages to the overall investigation of 9/11, which needs to be conducted, is a recent Rasmussen report poll that came out 15 days after the 60 Minutes piece. So they had 15 days to survey the thoughts and the attitudes of Americans. Well, in this report, 74% of Americans want everything declassified about 9/11, and only a quarter feel that they've been told the total truth about 9/11. So 75% know that we've been either lied to, misled, and deprived of all the facts and details. That's huge. So the 28 pages has had, I think, an immense value, and I've seen this building, Alex, the pressure building, especially since December, with efforts in Congress to get more and more co-sponsors. Then late March, there was an article written by Jersey widow Kristen Breitweiser, published in the Huffington Post, called "Obama of Arabia." Absolutely scathing article about the fact that this government continues to suppress and protect the interests of Saudi Arabia over the concerns and the needs and the interests of the American people and, of course, the 9/11 families. So then the 60 Minutes piece came out on the 10th of April, and since then it has been an unbelievable display of high-profile news coverage that's pretty much wall-to-wall, just about saturation coverage. And the controversy is unbelievable, where now we have John Brennan, director of the CIA, and Tom Keane and Lee Hamilton kind of reversing their earlier positions in which they favored release of the 28 pages. And we have also the Obama White House kind of trying to downplay the value of the 28 pages, completely 180 degrees opposite from the statements of the 9/11 Commission.
Where they said they wanted the 28 pages from the congressional report release, and there was a cover-up going on, 6 of the 10. Well, that shows the major pressure, the threats that are being made. Right. But the good news is everybody's learning about stand-downs, about Saudi Arabia. People are going, hey, that's the country where 15 of them came from. Why'd we attack Iraq? I mean, really, regardless, they're losing in the court of public opinion, whether they cover up or not. And Saudi Arabia threatening us to pull $850 billion a few weeks ago, and you know, acting so suspicious, and the fact that people know that ISIS is just Al-Qaeda and the West is funding it as their jihad army for destabilization less. I mean, this is really an exciting time to see the truth come out. And now we've gone from false flag terrorism and inside job being an unknown terms to being ubiquitous out there. I mean, I think this is evidence that citizen journalists, the whistleblowers that get the real credit in the government and other areas, and the families and activists and countless others, and Walter Jones, the congressman, hammering in on this broadcast and our audience, millions of people taking action, Drudge Report linking to it. It's not about credit. The point is the people are taking action, and it shows the Associated Press's media has a 6% approval rating now, mainstream media, 6% trust rate. I think you can stick a fork in them. They're done. Whether it's this or the TPP or anything else they try to push, this establishment has zero credibility.
Yes, very dramatic. And, well, I think also we're witnessing that within Congress, you have Walter Jones, Steve Lynch, Thomas Massie, and then some new faces that have come forth supporting the effort to release the 28 pages, which is very dramatic. For instance, Bob Sherman of Colorado, who's a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Let me add one or two more here. Devin Nunes, who is a very much kind of a hawk warmonger, if you hear his interviews on TV. However, and this is significant because he has come out favoring the release of the 28 pages. And Alex, he's the head of the House Intelligence Committee. And anybody who wants to, within Congress, gain access to read the 28 pages has to put in a request to that House Intelligence Committee. And so there are many very, very dramatic things going on. Thomas Drake, NSA whistleblower, has come forth.
Sure, we've had him on.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
An constitutional attorney, Bruce Fine, has written a couple of excellent articles about the need for Congress to release the 28 pages.
The truth is, this has given 9/11 Truth a giant opening to expose this whole underworld of the West working with radical Wahhabist Saudi Arabian Captain Caveman craziness. And it's a very, very exciting time to be alive. And we look to see what gets released next week. Les Jameson, thank you so much. HR14.org. We'll be right back. Stay with us. I want to write to your phone calls. Write to your phone calls. Debbie and Leandra and others, stay with us.
Wow.